Alright guys, if any of y'all seen my last video where I was making this circuit to control a webcam on a motor controlled CNC gimbal, and well, I had some problems with that idea because I was going to use this with this Bluetooth receiver, and I didn't know that this thing will just not work without a USB host. So without having to buy a USB host for this thing to use, I scrapped that idea. Then I went to this idea. See, because I built this whole circuit board and everything with the motor drivers for 4 motors and all that. And then I was like, it's one of them projects where you get so far into the project and you find a problem, you just don't want to stop. So I hacked into this. This was a wired remote, and I hacked into it, hooked a microcontroller up to it, did wireless, and this thing flopped around. This wire connection kept coming undone, and one of them ripped off, and I just got tired of screwing with the wireless crap. So I went to just a wired setup. It's this USB sends all the signals, and well, here's this right here is the webcam, and this is a little program I wrote. I don't know how well you can see this. I wrote this little program. It just got arrows and stop and reset, and I've only got the left one done so far as the coding goes. So I gotta still write the codes for the right side, which will be the second camera. See, this is just one. This is just one, but I've got an identical webcam to this one, another Logitech, and I've got this other setup here with 2 more motors and the 3D printed things, and that's what these 2 spots are for. So, but I just gotta write some code to finish that up. So yeah, I used a mouse in this program I wrote, and I clicked the buttons, and I guess you can just watch that. See, I gotta put a speed adjustment, so I got it turned up to move pretty far right now, but you can make it move a lot less, more of fine tuning. So in between these two pads there, I'm going to widen it, and I'm going to put a slider to be able to control basically how many steps these stepper motors take. So yeah, it's been taking a while. This was a big old mess. I had to I put this is one of these really long input-output expanders, and these 3 are the motor drivers, which is just a transistor arrays. Then they got 7 each, so it took 3 of them to get 16 for these 4 motors. And then yeah, I put this wireless module on there when I was trying to use this wireless setup. And I mean, I had this working, but the wireless stuff was too glitchy, and I moved it around and threw it around so much that I kept ripping these wires off, and I was just like, screw it, I'm going to wired. So yeah, I just wrote a real simple program on oh, let me get this camera out of the way. Yeah, I wrote the program on processing. I just wrote it out, made the buttons, drew out this right here, and I got finished the code. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys because I made that other video, and it's like I just ran into so many problems since then. So this is gonna work. I mean, so I can go left, right, and here if I go left, I got it set to go slow, and take 20 is taking 20 steps. So I'm going to make an adjustment so it can make a lot finer movements than that. So that's all it does, you know. It's a little gimbal with two stepper motors, and that's going to go in the CNC machine up in a corner somewhere, probably about where that clip is. Well, there's going to be two of them, so each, I don't know, I'll find the best spot. I don't know if I want one directly from the side and one from the front, or if I would just want them both in these two corners facing down towards it. I'm not sure how I want it, so. But yeah, and this is my next project. This is for a blade sharpener I'm building. I'm going to have to mill a circle pocket in the center, and I'm going to have to mill the outer diameter down by about an inch. So an inch less around, but still a circle. Mill a pocket circle in the center, and then a bunch of bolt holes, and then I've got to have it all aligned in a proper way to where I can flip it over and still be perfectly aligned. And I've got to do some other milling to the other side of it. So it's going to be interesting. It's the adapter plate. Remember when I was messing with the steel wheel bearing? This is going to get adapted onto here, and then it's going to have some other stuff on the opposite side of the bearing. So yeah, this is going to be the adapter plate. It's going to be 10 and a half inches OD. But I'm just getting finished up. I finally got my 3D printer working. So I got all the end stops, switches, and I got the one down there, and I had to put one here. And then I also am working on an a touch, I put power to the tip and touch off of the metal. Since it's metal, it's conductive, and then I can level it out as perfect as I can, because I'm going to be flipping it and doing stuff on the other side. It's got to be perfectly level. So yeah, I've been setting up and wiring for the Z probing and all the homing switches, which I haven't been running any of that up until this point. I just zeroed out and had no homing switches, no in-stop switches, and no Z probing. So I got all that now. That took a while. And but yeah, here's the camera setup. It's going to be done. All I've got to do is, if you see how the camera is mounted to this piece here, see these, you can get these on Thingiverse. They're for these stepper motors. But I just have this partial one here that I was mounting the camera with, but I'm going to redo this piece, redesign it, and it's going to come out, it's going to make it sit up a little higher, and it's going to come out a little bit. And then I've got this acrylic, clear acrylic. You take this protective off and it should be nice and clear. And I'm going to make a little windshield in front of it, so the flood coolant spraying and splattering everywhere, which is pretty bad. It splashes pretty good. It's going to have a little windshield from that. And if it gets too bad, I'm going to take a little servo motor and make a little windshield wiper if it's needed. I don't know if it's needed or not. So, but yeah, this will be done pretty soon. Now that I got one side figured out, I just got to copy the code and for the other side, and I need to redesign this piece to have a little slot to accept a cutout piece of this plastic for a little window, and do 3D print those. Design and 3D print it, but that ain't that big a deal. I'll just, That's pretty simple. This was the hard part, and I've messed with this and went back and forth with it and had all kinds of problems with the damn wireless stuff, and I just always have problems dealing with any of this wireless stuff. I can never get to work reliably, so I just wrote a program on a computer and it runs off the USB. But yeah, it all works. This is all ready for all four. I just got to get the code written to accept the next two motors. Alright, I just wanted to show you guys what I was working on here. Alright, later.